Hi everyone, my name is Sam Woolson. I have a background in graphic design, nursing, and UX UI. I possess an insatiable thirst for knowledge, particularly in full stack web development, wireframing, prototyping, user research, 2D animation, and other areas. I have always enjoyed creating, but find myself frustrated by not being able to implement and finish passion projects, hence my interest in savvy coders. I realized this is exactly what I needed to accomplish my goal. Drawing on my healthcare experience with a nursing and digital marketing experience, as well as societal needs, I've decided to create a healthcare resource website and eventually an app for the transgender community, something through research has proven is a necessity for this community. Reddit, for example, has numerous subthreads for the trans community, but constant endless searching to find information. Same with other trans apps out there that are focused on scheduling appointments, therapy, hormone therapy, and so forth. The problem is that none of these resources can be found in one spot, and that's what my Capstone Transform Healthcare is meant to solve. All the resources necessary to find care, but based on the community's recommendations and reviews. After all, life is hard, but their healthcare journey shouldn't be. I accomplish this through my knowledge of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So without further ado, let me show you what I've created. Transform Healthcare is meant to be a single-page application or app as a resource for the trans community to recommend and rate providers, chat in forums, and search for care based by location accessible to everyone. The problem is that it's difficult for trans people to find quality care to make them feel seen, heard, and safe, let alone find resources for care all in one place. The research that I did outside of this course and during this course was speak to trans people and their experiences. And they told me that they were discriminated within healthcare systems. It didn't matter if it was by a surgeon, a nurse, a CNA, or a therapist. So their biggest concern was that this website were to be a safe place for this community to interact and promote any provider that they have been to that was experienced in trans care and they had a safe and respectful experience. I did a SWOT analysis and found that a few strengths being inclusive for ages 13 and up with parental supervision, resources all in one spot, users can review providers as well as recommend providers. Weaknesses would be backend security, login, and account personalization, no app. Currently, that doesn't exist, but that is the main thing that will be focused on moving forward. So there is that safety for the community. Opportunities would be that resources are easier to find. Users will find comfort in knowing that providers displayed have experience with trans care. Threats would be users being attacked by those outside of the community with opposing beliefs, as well as fast emerging apps for this community. Doing the wireframes, I wanted to have a main nav bar with a side nav bar with all these subpages within it. So whenever users would log in and they'd see the homepage, they'll see trending, news, podcasts, books, and publications. And when they click on those, the idea was to have it interchange within that same page, utilizing CSS and JavaScript. I unfortunately was not able to implement this successfully. So once I move forward, I'll be rendering this navigation to be back in the state that I wanted or what I originally planned for it. I ended up settling for a simple main navigation on top being home, service, community, questions, and about. Here you'll see a midify wireframe of the top navigation as reference. I did a sitemap where the user would log in or register. They'd see the homepage immediately past that stage where they can shift between these news updates, trending, and what others saying. They can hop over to a community forum where they can create a post, or they can review community posts where they can comment, upvote, downvote, or share. And the search page would now be the services page where they could search for a provider. It would display a list view of the results and any information about that provider. Then they would also see locations, those providers specific to those locations, such as the United States being broken down into states. And when they get into that state view, they can see any of the services listed in that location. Another big thing to implement was make a suggestion form for any user that goes on here and sees, hey, my provider is not listed. I had a great experience and I want to go ahead and recommend them. So that's the form that they would need to fill out. These 3 pages are what my main focuses were on to get this MVP going. For branding, I did a play on words of transform healthcare just because healthcare needs a change in how they handle trans care. I feel like it should be a basic knowledge rather than a specialty. So I wanted this logo to be a sense of hope and moving forward. For the colors, I pulled from the trans pride flag being the pink, blue, and white, but I rendered them just slightly so they can be visible on this dark blue background, making it readable and accessible. I even tested it on the web accessibility and it passed on the AA and AAA. I participated in agile ceremonies doing sprint planning, daily scrum or daily stand up, sprint review, sprint retrospective, as well as product backlog refinement. I participated as a developer for a majority of the time. In a small part, I was a scrum master. And while I was a scrum master, I had the opportunity to work with classmates on any issues that they might have had. A lot of the times I gave my best advice because they were going in different directions I had no idea of, but it was still the point of having that collaborative environment and people to bounce off of if you needed questions. So that was really great to be part of. For technologies used, I had used HTML, CSS, JavaScript, MongoDB, Netlify, Render, VS Code, GitHub, and Jira. Jira is where I tracked my pace of my Capstone projects, and that was good to see if I needed to reassess and reprioritize to be up to speed or slow down and look at the bigger picture. So moving on to my Capstone, this is the home page. I'm going to go ahead and open up the services page so it has time to load that custom API. But on the home page, you'll be greeted with a waving hand. Users can go in here and see books, news, podcasts, and when they click on these links, it will open a blank page. That way it doesn't exit out of my website completely because that can be annoying. So that is how all these other links will work if they wanted to view any more information. Hopping over to the services page, still loading, so we'll come back to that. Community page, I added a lot of these illustrations first and foremost because I wanted these users to feel comfortable in this space to take away from that stigma and anxiety of healthcare spaces. So going down here, they can create a post. This isn't exactly how I want it to be, but the goal is to get it better. But you see the point here. You'll see the username, their avatar, the title of their post, as well as the content within that. And if anybody wanted to expand on it, they could hit see more and it would show more information if there are any, as well as upvoting, downvoting, commenting, and sharing. For the questions page, if anybody had questions for support, like I want to change my name on the back end, how do I do that? They can go ahead and fill out this information and send it, and someone would hopefully get back to them within 7 days to make sure that all answers are or all questions are answered. The about page gives a quick brief about how the company was formed, who it's for, and what the plan is eventually. And if they were curious about something or they just wanted to inquire about partnerships, maybe they can go ahead and fill out this form here and send. So going back to the services page, this is where users would come in and recommend a provider that they've seen. I'm just going to go ahead and fill out dummy text in here just to make up for that. For service type, let's say plastic surgery, review this provider. When they submit, it will go ahead and post. So that is what this custom API that I created is meant to do. And what I'd like it to do in the future is whenever a user fills this out, it would go to the backend where I would review it to make sure that this is the legit provider that these users can call and rely on for safe trans care. But this was created for the MVP purposes. So whenever I go over to my code, I'll show you how I created this custom API. I had 3 in total for the custom forms, but I stuck with 1 to go ahead and make sure that it was functioning. So in my server folders, in my models and routers, I have a provider form built out. This validate how allows users to, type in any alphabetical case lowercase, uppercase, as well as numbers. If this wasn't existing, then it would kick back a validation error or code 500, which I hit a lot of the times, and I was thankfully able to get that corrected with the help of my TAs. So going in here, you'll see the router post. A big thing to know is that I implemented the Express server that acts as a middleware to kind of allow my Capstone to connect with the database, allowing it to bounce whenever the user posts it. It'll go to the MongoDB connected through Express, and then it would send that information back to my website and posting so the user can see it. So for me, that was the biggest challenge within this course, was creating those APIs. I had no idea what I was doing. So having a functioning API is wonderful, and I'm pretty happy with that. Another thing would be creating the CSS to match my vision of the website overall to get the initial message out and idea out was a big important thing for me to figure out. So that's that. Now for moving forward, I will be implementing that backend security as well as the navigation bar and login register for users. For the outcome, although not a live version yet, a priority for the resource app is to showcase professionals who offer trustworthy and safe care to those seeking it, based on information gathered from experiences and reviews of other users. Big key points of this website would be that it's safe, sense of community, professionals with trans care experience. These are all things that I want to ensure moving forward with this project. I want to say a big thank you to Savvy Coders for giving me this opportunity to expand and learn new skills that I didn't think was possible. I definitely appreciate the classmates that I got out of it and the experience as well. And final, I want to say thank you so much to everyone who is watching mine or my classmates' videos. We're very grateful, at least I am, about you viewing this. Take care. I hated it.